Hey bro, it's been a while. I'm very sorry that I wasn't able to put this out any earlier, but I was very busy with a couple of very important things that I just had to do, not only for university but also for my future in terms of job and whatever. But I'm back. I'm ready to do some videos again. I'm ready to put out so much again. I have been thinking about so many things the last couple of days, and basically the last 10 days or something like that. I have been having just constant thought processes and trying to figure out what to put first, what to put out first. But anyways, again, I'm very sorry that I didn't do this earlier, but here we go. So, I don't know, have you noticed that, at least that's the thought process that I had. I think nowadays there's one thing that we have a great problem with, our generation. We lack leaders. We no longer have people to look up to, people that inspire us. Of course, there are some, sure, no doubt, no doubt. But I feel like compared to other to other parts in history, we lack leadership. We don't have enough people to look up to. We do have some form of leadership, right? But I'm not sure whether these leaders are what we truly need. I'm not sure whether their style of leadership is something that actually benefits us all. So the question that I've been asking myself for the last couple of days was basically, how do you lead? What makes a good leader? And of course, I've written something down here, so I'm going to go through these things with you. And I really hope that I can explain this thought as I had it so that you understand what I've been thinking about. Because I think this is a deeply concerning and very important question that we need to ask ourselves. So the first thing that came to my mind about what a leader does is that a leader commands respect. Because in order to lead a group of people, they have to look up to you. You cannot lead if you don't have people that look up to you, right? It's simply impossible. You cannot lead anyone if they don't look up to you. So now, what does a leader do? Again, he commands respect, and it sounds very simple. A leader leads. I mean, that's what the entire word implies, right? Now, there are several types of leadership, right? And we have to distinguish between the ones that benefit us and the ones that do not benefit us at all. So obviously the first and probably the simplest form of leadership is tyranny. You can lead by being a tyrant, right? But there's two major flaws that come with tyranny. First of all, I mean, what is tyranny? Tyranny basically is leadership through sheer force. Tyranny is basically leadership through fear, through oppression, and to sheer force. The problem with tyranny is twofold. First of all, you're gonna have to sell your soul for it. You have to sacrifice something in order to become a tyrant. You have to sacrifice a part of your soul to become a tyrant. Second thing, tyranny, absolute power, never lasts. They are ought to fail. They are bound to fail. Tyranny fails all the time. I've got a couple of examples for you. First of all, like very prominent attempt of tyranny is obviously Julius Caesar. Now, whether Caesar intended only good things for the Republic, let's just put that aside. He definitely tried to grab absolute power there, right? In some form. I mean, if you disagree, please let me know. I mean, that's, of course, what the comments are there for. I mean, that's why we have them. So if you disagree on that point, please let me know. I'm oversimplifying here, right? Caesar tried to grab absolute power. He got killed, right? He got murdered. So didn't work for Caesar. Didn't work for Caesar. Second example, French monarchy. The French monarchy, and I'm talking about the absolute monarchy of Louis XIV, the 15th, and the 16th, they were eradicated by the French Revolution, which kickstarted an entire new era of history, right? So that form of tyranny definitely failed, right? The last king was beheaded. So yeah, it failed. The Romanov dynasty, right, the Tsars, the emperors of Russia, basically the family that ruled over the largest piece of land for 300 or so years, massive fucking empire, absolute monarchs, pretty much, almost complete absolutism. They were shot. Right, the last Romanovs were shot. The Chinese Empire, probably the empire that held out the longest of all of them. I mean, of course, they had dynasties that changed it, but China basically stayed China. Right? And every foreign dynasty that came in had one goal: they wanted to rule over China. So the Chinese Empire, which was certainly ruled in a very autocratic, almost absolute style of power, so also tyranny, it was crippled by civil wars, constantly crippled by civil wars, and of course also wars with opportunist powers from the outside, obviously most important, Japan. And this war broke China's soul, because the China that we know nowadays is nothing compared to the China that was there before the Japanese waged war against them. So, to draw a conclusion here, tyranny does work, but only for a very short time, right? I mean, of course, you can stretch it. Obviously, you can. But it will come to an end. Tyranny will be ended, and it won't be beautiful. It won't go down beautifully. So tyranny is out of the picture, because it's just we can't work with it, right? It doesn't work for long. Even nowadays, even if you look at regimes such as North Korea, trust me, they are deemed to fail. They will fail. North Korea will, without a doubt, fail. The only reason as to why North Korea still exists is because they are protected by China. Once that protection slips away, it's over. North Korea cannot hold itself on its own. So that's a tyranny that it will be gone. I don't know when. Probably, I don't know if it'll last like a couple of generations, maybe 2 generations or something like that after Kim Jong-un. But North Korea will fail. It's bound to fail. So tyranny doesn't work. We need leadership that doesn't oppress. We need leadership that doesn't install fear and leads by sheer force. We need a leader that leads by example. We need someone that we can trust. We need leaders that we can trust, that we will truly, from the bottom of our hearts, look up to. Now, they don't have to be superhuman, right? That's a great thing. A great leader isn't superhuman. He isn't without flaws. He's actually a completely normal person that has managed to inspire so many people because he's so incredibly authentic. Now, I know I like to use this example, but he just works brilliantly for this. Alexander the Great was such a leader. He was without a doubt one of the most interesting people in all of human history. And this guy, I mean, you can say whatever you want about him, right? He certainly didn't, again, he had his flaws, no doubt. But what he was unquestionably inspiring. The people loved him. His soldiers trusted him with their lives. And we're talking about tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people who trusted one man who they revered as almost a god, which he wasn't, right? He wasn't, he was just a human being, which made him even more likable because he was wounded in battle, right? He was almost killed in battle. That is what made him so incredibly authentic and likable. But he still arose to the task time and time again, and he led from the front, right? Because to lead means that you go first. And going first means that you are also the first one to fall. But that just comes with the territory. And Alexander understood this perfectly well. So he is one of these people that we can truly look back at and think, okay, this is what makes a good leader. This is what makes a great leader. Now, where's the difference between good and great leader? In simpler terms, a good leader, in my opinion, a good leader makes sure that he reaches the goal, which is great, right? Perfect, brilliant, good. A great leader, I know it sounds corny, I know it does, but I think I'm on the right track with this. A great leader makes sure that everyone reaches the goal. A great leader always puts himself last. A great leader always makes sure that the others get there first. A great leader makes sure that everyone reaches the goal. And that's because a great leader understands that he is nothing without his team. A great leader understands that yes, he can inspire, yes, he can command, yes, he can lead. But he also understands that it's only possible when accepting others into power, right? When realizing that he needs to share power. A great leader never holds all the power. A great leader commands respect by having gained that respect from his group. But on the other side, he also respects every single individual in his group because, again, he knows that he is nothing without them. A great leader understands that you can only reach completion by including others into the great plan that he has. Right? He might be the one who has the plan. He might be the one who has the master plan. But he understands that he can only get there if he gets the help of others. So he puts himself last, and he understands that he needs to push the others in order to get to where they all want to get. Now, if we want to be great leaders, we need to learn how to lead. Right? I mean, how can you lead if you don't know what you're doing? Now, of course, there is no plan for leadership. There is none. You can't learn it in university. You won't be able to learn it in school. You can only learn on the job, right? You can learn leadership by life, by going through life. Now, we have to understand if we want to be leaders, we need to work on ourselves first. And this is where self-improvement comes in again. If you want to lead, you need to learn to work on yourself first, because if you are not worthy of leading, you will never lead anybody. Actually, this being worthy point is very, very important. One of the last conversations that I had with one of my big, great friends was basically about reaching goals and whatever and whatnot. And he said one very important thing. He said that if you don't reach a goal, it only shows to you, it only demonstrates that you are not worthy of that goal yet. You haven't reached that goal simply because you weren't worthy of it. So in order to reach that goal, you need to become worthy of it. Because the world is not a crazy place. It is not a crazy enough place to just give out, to just make undeserving people reach their goals. That won't happen. You need to be worthy of reaching your goal. Therefore, if you want to lead, you need to be worthy of leadership. Now, let's say you do that, right? Let's say you work on yourself. Let's say you truly want to improve yourself. Let's say that you have understood that you need to have absolute humility first and to improve yourself in every aspect of life before you can even think of leading anyone. Now, then let's just say you do it and you get better at what you do, right? You get slowly but surely, you build momentum and you get better and better and better at it. When you do that, when you get better, people will notice. People will notice. It's just impossible that they won't notice. If you get better, people will notice and you will inspire. And this is where leadership then comes in. Because you then need to make sure that you push the people that you inspire. You need to make sure that you see who these people are, right? You need to realize who they are. And then you need to push them. That's where you put yourself second and them first. That's where you lead for the first time. And you do that over and over and over again, and over time, you will build trust. And then you can lead. By trust, you can lead. On that, you can capitalize. But first, what comes first? You need to make yourself worthy of leadership. That means that you need to learn the skills of leadership. Now, what are the skills of leadership? I have only a couple of bullet points here. I'm not going to name all of them simply because I think leadership is something that is very, very, that is determined by the individual, right? My style of leadership might be completely different of what your style of leadership is. But regardless of that, I think there are just common threads that are part of leadership, of great leadership. First of all, communication. You need to learn how to communicate. You need to learn how to bring your point across. You need also, very important, because that's probably the most important part of communication, you need to learn how to listen. And then you tailor your expectations fittingly to the expectations of the other person. Communication, skill number 1. Empathy is part of communication, right? Empathy, leadership skill number 2, incredibly important. If you can't show empathy towards the people that you want to lead, there's never going to be any trust built, right? Decision making. You need to learn how to make decisions. And you will make decisions that are completely wrong. But it's totally fine because you can only learn on the job, right? Discipline, focus, determination, goal setting. You won't reach a goal if you don't have a goal, right? I've talked about that already. The will to constantly improve yourself, the will to constantly learn. And that, of course, includes that you just have to accept humility. You have to accept the fact that you are not perfect. You'll never be perfect. That's perfectly fine, right? It's a wordplay. You will never be perfect, but that's perfectly fine. But you just need to understand that you can get better. Over time, you will get better. So this is a very important leadership skill. Friendship. If you don't have friends, I've made a video about that already, friendship. Man, if you don't have friends, you're not going to get anywhere in life. You're not going to lead, you won't do anything without friends. Learn how to be a great, and amazing friend. And that means learn how to give attention, right? That's friendship. Farsight. A true leader obviously always has a vision in mind. That means farsight. And last but not least, you need to learn how to manage yourself. If you can't manage yourself, you won't be able to manage a team. Impossible. So before you even think of leading anyone, learn how to lead yourself. Become a natural leader. Make yourself worthy of leading, and then lead by example. So I think that's it, guys. Again, I hope that I was able to explain the thoughts that I've been having. I hope that I was able to bring them across to you. And as always, see you in the next one. I love you to pieces. Bye. Mwah.